Hi everyone, my name is Swapnil Talpade. I am SD2 here at Procedure. I was really wondering why they asked me to give the first talk. Felt like anyone here have been to a stand-up comic? Like there they send these junior artists to open for them to test waters. And yeah, I think that is what Ullas wants from me. So I'll be the sacrificial lamb here. Today I'll be talking about MCP, that is Model Context Protocol. Everyone here must have worked with LLMs or talked with AI. Like, have you felt like LLMs are just yappers? Like your girlfriend. So like they can write poems for you, they can debug code for you, they can even write that breakup text for you, but they won't be able to send it to you. And like action speaks louder than words. Sometimes LLMs can speak words, but they don't really do shit. But before we understand how LLMs work, let's see how things happened pre-LLM era, like not pre-LLM era, even today. So back before LLMs, like even today, we have this client server architecture. So we use few protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, WebSockets to communicate between clients and servers. And so things have changed. Let's see how, now that things are changing and we are evolving in tech, let's see how that happens. Like if you remember back in the days when ChatGPT recently came out, if you ask something about current affairs, it would just say, okay, I can't really give you that information because my model is trained up till 2021. So that was one drawback there. Current state is now improved. LLMs have like latest information. Like for example, now if you try asking LLM what's the weather like, you see this searching for web icon. What it will do is it will go search in the web for the particular information, gets that result and display that result back to the user. So things are better, but not really the best. But we don't really care about that. I'll show you what I really care. So we went, like I have been to trips with my friends. Last week we went to Pauna Lake. We have also been to Sikkim. And the third slide is just me because I really like that picture. And I want everyone to see that because this is my talk and I don't think anyone can do anything about that. So, okay. So the problem with managing these trips is there are a lot of pain points, like booking hostels, planning the itineraries, and booking cabs. Let's just focus in on one problem, that is booking a cab. So every user has this preferences. Like let's say we want to book a cab that is in our budget. The car should not have driven some kilometers. It should have 6-seaters, 4-seaters, depending on our use cases. So there are a lot of providers that gives you these services. For example, Zoomcar, there is Rev, there is My Choice. What these do is they basically lets you book a car for you. There are like, imagine, so what what user has to do is user has to go to each website, check for its own preferences, and then maybe try booking a cab. What happens if we want a third-party service that integrates with all these providers and book the cab for us, that is aggregate the results and then book a cab for us? Let's say the problem here is, let's say these providers have their APIs that they give to these third-party services that you can book our cab. The problem is, let's say Zoomcar has its own API that is API slash zoom car slash book car. It takes in some payload, that is car ID, start date, end date. There is rev that has its own form of API. There is my choice that has its own form of API. You see the problem, like we want to perform one task, but there are different ways that we can do. Like the third party would have to manage all these APIs. Like let's say tomorrow if zoom car comes in and it says okay, I have changed the contract, API contract, I don't really care about the car ID now, I really need car name. Our third party aggregator service would then have to implement that logic. Like it should be aware that okay, API is changing. You see the problem, like even if one small thing is being changed from the provider, a third party service should know about that, which is really hard and makes our code brittle. Like if suppose one layer breaks, and if that layer, if the second layer is dependent on first, eventually our entire pipeline might break. So there is not really any standard way, but until now. So we have MCPs. What MCP does is it provides a standardized way to connect our AI applications to external services, just like USB-C. What does that mean? So let's say you have these providers, Zoomcar, there is Rev, there is My Choice. Each provider would be responsible for its own MCP server. So Zoomcar has its own, Rev has its own, My Choice has its own. What Anthropic did is it said, okay, I'll give you one protocol, like a standardized way. It is your responsibility to integrate your services with that. And now what the end user has to do is just integrate these MCP servers with them. These MCP servers would have knowledge about API changes, because these MCP servers would be managed by the providers itself. So even if Zoomcar tomorrow comes in and says, okay, I don't really need car ID there, I need car name there, the Zoomcar's MCP server would have that context. And MCP servers are quite intelligent in that case. Like if I say, okay, I need to book a car from, I want to book this car from this date to this date, it will just abstract that information out and send that as a payload to the MCP server. We don't really have to say, okay, I am seeing this, but you should be able to abstract start date from this, end date from this. You can just say, I want to travel from this date to this date. It will be smart enough to pick that start date and end date for you. This is how MCP solves it. But let's see. I'll show you a quick demo about how you can build your own MCP server. It's fairly simple. Okay, it took us half an hour to show this. I really don't want to. Okay, I'll show you the demo first, and then maybe I can dive into the code. It's fairly simple. Like I have this MCP client, in this case our Claude desktop. You can use any MCP client. There is Claude desktop, there is Cursor, there is Windsurf. For this demo I am using Claude. Let's see how we can just add a note. Hey, can you add a note that says 24 people are looking awkwardly at me. Let's see, like this Claude client would then go ahead, add a note. You see, like I'll add a note. It figured out what note it has to add. It knows, like it is smart enough to say, okay, I'll send in the payload as note, and it would add 24 people are looking awkwardly at me, and it will send back, okay, note is added successfully. So it is smart enough to figure out what note should be added from a natural language. And you can also add let's add few more nodes. Also add, I am in AI meetup and I am trying my best. It will also add this node. Now let's say you want to get like the latest node that I added. You can just ask it, like how would you ask your friend, like give me latest note. Pretty please. You have to be kind to Claude. Okay, it figures out. Okay, I have this get notes function there. It would give me that, and here are all your notes. Okay, so in this case, it kind of screwed up because I only wanted latest note, but it gave me all my notes. Just fine. Okay, it says okay. It didn't screw up. It said I am in AI meetup and I'm trying my best. Okay, and see, you're doing great. And now if we ask him to I assume the gender, I'm sorry. Now if you ask Claude how, like, summarize all my notes for me, let's see. Hey, can you summarize my notes for me? What it will do is it will take all the notes and write you a nice summary for you. In this case, based on your notes, it sounds like you're currently at an AI meetup, feeling a bit conscious. Wow. You are aware that people are around you, 24 of them, seeing you, but you're pushing through and giving it your best. Claude is a better friend than some of the friends that I have. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Now what happens if you can see, like, I had this functions like add node, get node, so it was able to look those functions up. What happens if I don't really have a function and I ask him, like, I don't really have a function to delete any node. Let's see what Claude does. Can you delete a node for me? It should say, I don't really see a delete function available in node system. I only have access to, like, adding a new node and retrieving all existing nodes, but I can't really remove node. So this is, like, it is smart enough to know what context that I'm providing. In this case, I want to delete a node, but I don't really find a delete function there. Yeah, this is like a small demo. I'll walk you through the code real quick. It's fairly simple, like just getting the MCP server, initiating that. I have this nodes txt file. MCP has this tools. There's tool, there is resource, there is prompt. What this does is, like, tool is anything verb. If you want to add a node, if you want to get a node, tool is where you would decorate your function to. So you say add a node, and here you would say, okay, it should get a node and return something, a string. And this is fairly simple. Like, we load node, like, if we don't really have a node, just make a node file for me, and once you get a node, write that node to your file. And how MCP figures out, okay, it really has to use this function is through this doc strings. It knows, okay, add a new node to nodes file. We'll be getting a note as a payload. You have to add that, send a success message. Similar for get nodes, get all nodes. So doc strings are really what MCP looks for. And yeah, and this is, like, when I asked it to summarize the prompt, this is what we have to wrap that, like, mcp.prompt. Similar stuff, like adding a doc string here, and yeah, this would just summarize it for us. I think that is, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me. Hopefully I'll give you some right answers.